This conference will now be recorded.
Fine, guys. Thank you for joining this demo session. This is Atish from Isha. So this crash course we have tailored very specifically for the folks from manual testing background on automation testing to get them kick started with the performance domain, right? So in a lot of places we see that especially in the agile-based projects, pod-based team structure, the ask is for the testers to do multiple things, right? There is no space for having multiple people with multiple skill set, one for manual testing, one for automation, one for security, one for accessibility, one for performance, right? People expect the team, the leadership teams, the project teams expect the people to have multiple skills so that within 2 or 3 team size, they would be able to cover the entire testing. That is the that is the future as well, right? We going forward, we the team would be looking for a person to do multiple things, right? Or at least certain things, right? You can be still a core functional tester, but you should be able to probably support certain activities in performance testing and vice versa, right? If not a core performance tester, at least to a certain level, you should be able to, if there are more work coming in, you should be able to support based on your bandwidth, right? For that, it is very important for you to upskill. Even from the job market perspective, definitely if you are going to go and tell that you have learned performance testing and you know the basic concepts, you'll be able to go and create the scripts, execute, do analysis, definitely you will have a weightage when compared to the other people who only know the functional testing, right? So both as from your current project, also to get a job in the market, this is going to be really useful, right? And since it's a crash course again, we have structured in a way that within those 8 to 10 hours of window, you'll be able to get that journey kick-started, right? It is going to be a continuous journey for you to get more and more experienced and strong in performance testing. But somewhere you have to get started, right? So that is where I think most of the people will have a problem. They wait to start, how to start. The kickstart is always a problem. So what we thought is to have this kind of a crash course so that people can start their journey very quickly, and then from there on they would be able to go and master the performance testing, right? So a typical I'll just give a quick introduction, maybe before you want to get introduction about the performance testing, right? The course topics, whatever we are going to cover as part of the crash course, is more from the basics of performance testing. What is performance testing? How it is done, when it is done, right? You might all know when the functional testing or the automation testing will start, how it is done. So in most of your projects, you would see that performance testers are testing your application from a performance perspective. So you might have aware of what is going on, but we'll provide you the basics concepts about what is performance testing, why we need to do it, and when it is going to be done. And what is non-functional requirement? How do you gather the requirements from your business, from your architects, more from the load testing perspective, from a scalability perspective? So what is the non-functional requirements? What are the workload? How do you gather this requirement also? But because that is where you will start any performance testing project will start from gathering these non-functional requirements. What needs to be tested? What is the load, what are the critical scenarios. See, unlike functional testing, right? In functional testing, you will cover every use case, every journey, every workflow. But in performance testing, it does not require to cover every your test cases, right? The focus will be on only on the critical use cases, frequently used test cases. We will see what are the criteria in determining those use cases or test cases, and how it is going to be part of your non-functional requirements. So all these things are the kind of starting point in any of your performance testing project, right? And then we will see two things: one from a microservices perspective, and then one from the web application perspective. Right? Even when you look into your functional testing, automation testing, you will have two kind of things, right? One for the service-based testing, your REST APIs, microservices. You might be using Postman for the manual validation, or you might be using REST issue kind of automation framework. And from a UI perspective, from a web application perspective, it might be testing it manually using a Chrome browser or a Firefox browser, or we might be using the Selenium for automation. Similarly, the approach for when it comes to performance testing also, you will have a different way of approaching microservices and different way of approaching your web application. So what we will do is for our uh, hands-on training, we will use two kind of applications. Pretty much more real-time application. We will use it. Right? One for the microservices, we will use the Swagger document. Swagger document you might have all seen when it comes to manual testing or functional testing, automation testing also, right? You will have the set of get APIs, post APIs, all the API documentation will be part of this. And from here, we will pick couple of services for our performance testing also. Right? So we'll take those services and create scripts similar to the Selenium script. In performance testing, you would be creating the load testing scripts. Right? So from a microservices perspective, we use this pet store Swagger document, and then we will go and understand how these post APIs or get APIs work, and then we will try to create a script in LoadRunner, and then see how to create a proper script in terms of you parameterizing it or correlating it or having error handling. We'll create scripts using LoadRunner for a couple of APIs. And similarly for web application, we will use the e-commerce kind of an application where you go to the home page, you probably select a product and then do a add to cart and then do a checkout, right? So it's a typical e-commerce application that you do that we will try to replicate from a load testing or performance testing also. So we'll create UI based scripting also for using LoadRunner and see how it is going to be handled. Right? So from a microservices perspective and also from a web application perspective, we will look into the scripting, execution, and analysis using LoadRunner. Right? So that when it comes to real-time your projects, always you're going to have two things. One is a service-based load testing. Another one is your UI-based or web application-based load testing. Okay. And also from a LoadRunner perspective, you would be able to install the LoadRunner tool. It's again, there are trial versions available. Yeah, if you register it in Micro Focus, you would be able to do installations on your machine. Say LoadRunner Professional, which is say for example, I've done the trial version today, and LoadRunner Cloud I got access to for 1 month till August 16th. And then there's another professional which you can download it. There's a two version. One is a SaaS version, and one another is your downloadable version. Both are pretty much same. I'll tell you when we go into session what's the difference. Cloud is more about you don't need to worry about a lot of installations. SaaS based model, you can do execution. You would be able to log into your SaaS version and then create a scenarios or look into your previous test results. While test is running, you'd be able to monitor your test runs. So from execution perspective, from an analyst perspective, you can use a SaaS version of a LoadRunner. Say this is a sample load testing report, what is available in the already, right? So from a result perspective, from an execution perspective, we will see how to use LoadRunner to configure a scenario, execute the scenario, monitor the scenario, and then look into the results. Right? Again, more from your hands-on as well. Pretty much whatever we do it in our course, at the end of the day or whenever you get time the weekend, you'll be able to practice it, right? Because all these softwares are either going to have either it's an open source or you'd be able to register it for a trial version for sure. So which means definitely you will be able to do an hands-on, right? Um, so that is more from the your load testing scripts execution and analysis. Okay. Um, there is one more aspect of monitoring I'm mentioning, right? From a monitoring perspective, um, there are two aspects. One is the application monitoring. Second is your infra monitoring. So your application is going to deploy it. It will be running in say Java application. You have a JVM. It will be deployed in a Tomcat or a JBoss, and the server assets will be sitting in a Linux or a Windows machine, right? So monitoring your infrastructure, your Windows or Linux is one important thing. Second is monitoring your Java application itself is another important thing. Okay, so we will look into two things. One is open source monitoring option of Telegraph, InfluxDB, and Grafana. And from application monitoring and diagnostics, why response time is high? What is my SQL level response time? What is my heap utilization? What is my GC time? All these things are very important from a monitoring. So we will use AppDynamics for configuring an application and then monitoring and then doing a diagnostics as well. Right? So that from a more from a performance testing, you will learn what is non-functional requirement, how requirements are gathered, for microservices and for web application, a real-time application. You will be able to go and create scripts, execute it, analyze it using a LoadRunner, and then from a monitoring perspective, Grafana for open source and AppDynamics for more from a diagnostics, your application level monitoring, and the your response time diagnostics as well. You would be able to learn using Grafana and the AppDynamics, right? Um, so once you able to learn all these things as we go on with the crash course, and also if you can practice it, definitely there's going to be a pretty much good kickstart, right? Even I would say 1 year experience or 2 year experience performance testing resource in any project, they would have done mostly this 1, 2, 3 years of experience maximum. They would have just be part of the non-functional requirement. They would have created the scripts for microservices. They would have created the scripts for web application. They would have done the execution, done some result analysis. They would have used AppDynamics. They would have used some of these Grafana. Right? Maybe they might have faced so many issues since they have been working on the project directly. Right? They might have faced a lot of real-time issues and they will know how to handle these things. But more from the coverage, more from the usage of these tools and concepts, pretty much this is what they would have done in the first 2 or 3 years of experience. So if you are new to performance testing or part of manual testing, automation testing, definitely this is going to help you to get a feel of how what will be a performance tester will do in this project, and gain that level of knowledge to a certain extent for sure, to more from a kickstarting purpose, right? So I'll just quickly show the AppDynamics as well. Again, AppDynamics also you'll have a trial version. You will be able to register and then use it, configure it against a Java application. So I will provide you a sample Java application which can deploy it in a Tomcat, and then during a session you will know how to configure it and then how to monitor your application from a response time perspective, from the your JVM level monitoring, like your GC, your heap utilization, all these things, right? Whatever I'm just going through these things, you would be able to learn and understand what a typical tester will do a monitoring when he's going to do a test from heap, from GC, major collections, minor collections. Even though you might not know exactly what is GC and what is pastime or your major collection, minor collection, to a certain extent you will be able to get a grasp of, okay, from when it comes to monitoring, you will be monitoring the infra level from a CPU, memory, and then disk usage. And from application perspective, I'll be monitoring the heap, I'll be monitoring the DC, your thread utilization, your business transaction level response time, the database calls, right? And then the remote services call. So all these things, when it comes to remote monitoring, when it comes to your application monitoring, that's what a typical performance tester will do in this job. So that is what we have been trying to put it in the crash course as well, right? And again, from a monitoring of your infrastructure, right? You will be using the Inflex and the Grafana dashboards. Okay, so if you see here, it's a sample Grafana dashboard. It is not having data now. It might data might take some time to get reflect. So we will see how to install InfluxDB, how to install Telegraph agent, how to monitor it using Grafana. Again, all this is a completely open source, and setting it up and monitoring it on all these things is going to be very um, not a tough job, definitely, right? Whatever we are trying to do in the course, definitely you would be able to replicate by yourself if you follow the course very closely, and then at least one time if you practice it, you can confidently go and claim that you are an automation tester, you are a manual tester, plus you have a performance testing knowledge. You can also claim that you have done hands-on, since you have a interest, you yourself learned, and then you have done hands-on using LoadRunner, execution analysis, AppDynamics. We're going to talk about AppDynamics monitoring. What do you monitor in the AppDynamics and all, right? People will definitely will get that kind of a confidence with you that yes, you've done a good amount of the homework to claim yourself as a, still you will be claiming yourself as a manual tester or an automation tester plus performance testing knowledge, right? That is what people will expect when it comes to your cross skilling, right? You'll have an in-depth knowledge in one testing, but you will have a broader knowledge in the other areas, right? They call it as a T-shaped skill set, right? One in the T, one of the skill set you will have a very in-depth knowledge, but other things you will have a breadth of knowledge. So performance testing can be one of that breadth of knowledge you can gain, right? And the sessions are going to be between 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. IST. The same time what we've been connected today, right? That is what we will be doing it regularly from Monday to Friday, right? So to summarize, if you are already a performance tester, very new to performance testing, 6 months, 1 year of experience, and if you want to know exactly end to end how the things will happen from a monitoring, execution, analysis, and scripting, this is the right course for you. Or if you functional tester or automation tester wanted to become a full stack QA engineer, definitely this will help you to kickstart that journey. Or if you say that no, I have a 6 years of experience, 10 years of experience, 15 years of experience, a QA lead or a QA manager, where you would you would be expected to manage the entire testing, right? Both the performance and functional. This will definitely help you to understand what goes on in the performance testing project, so that you have a good command over your team and the project. Or if you are part of other domain in the IT, and if you're trying to move to testing, definitely this will also help you to get that additional insight on the performance testing area. Okay, if you are falling under any of this category or criteria, definitely that is what we have tailored this crash course to meet these kind of candidates. Okay. Also during a session, right, will also, since you have not you wouldn't have worked in a real-time project for performance testing, for you to maybe get something more insight from my experience perspective, I'll also probably share a couple of real-time problems, real-time scenarios, which a experienced tester would have handled it, right? From a performance environment perspective, from some scripting test data issue, from a execution perspective, from an environmental perspective, during an execution analysis perspective, right? So we'll share you real-time issues that any performance tester would have encountered. That will again help you to um, gain more insight, so that you can also talk about it when somebody is going to question about the real-time project issues, right? So for any registration related questions, you can reach out to Kumar sir. And for any course related questions, of course, even after the demo is ended today, you can reach out to me through the WhatsApp group. See, to understand if you have any questions more on whatever I said in the last 20-25 minutes. So I'll take a pause here, guys. If you have any questions, yeah, feel free to ask. Yeah, any of you have any questions on the topics or what is going to be covered? Any questions, feel free to ask. Or if you wanted to put in the chat as well, I'm fine. So there's one question: what are all tools we need to learn when it comes to performance testing? Okay, let me go to my slide. Okay, so from a tool perspective, right? Uh, when you look into two aspects, one from a commercial, one from open source. LoadRunner, it's been in the market for last more than 15-20 years easily. Still, it is number one tool, Micro Focus LoadRunner, right? Uh, if wherever you see 75% or 70% of projects would be using your LoadRunner. There are other tools like New Load, um, and then you have Gatling, you have Jmeter. There are multiple tools available, but nothing closer to LoadRunner when it comes to commercial. Same way, from an open source perspective, Jmeter is easily the winner. Even Jmeter is there in the market for 10 plus years. And in the last 3-4 years, because of the way people are adopting open source tools, Jmeter is pretty much used by, again, good number of projects. Right, it is catching up with LoadRunner. There are other open source tools like K6, which is also picking up in the market. But the two tools that stands out even today is the LoadRunner and your Jmeter. Similarly, from a application monitoring perspective, there are two people who again are leaders. One is AppDynamics, second is the Dynatrace. There are multiple other people who are catching up, like New Relic, but AppDynamics and Dynatrace definitely the top two. Okay. So, which means if you at least cover one tool from each of the segment, from testing tool, we will be in the course we will be looking into the um, LoadRunner, and from monitoring application performance management APM tool, will be covering the AppDynamics. And so, yeah, those two would be pretty much good to get started since you are now starting to get into this performance testing domain. Right? And additionally, so whoever is going to get registered to the course, right? We also wanted to probably share a few more uh, training videos as well. There's one course where how to use Selenium for performance. Right? So you might have already known about Selenium because you might be from the functional testing background, right? So Selenium is more from a UI based testing. Selenium, when you create a test case using Selenium, your application is going to get launched. It's going to go over multiple pages. So idea is how to use Selenium itself rather than using LoadRunner scripts, how can I use a Selenium script for a early performance or to get a single user performance? So Selenium, you cannot do a load testing. You cannot use it for 100, 200 users. You can just use it for 5 or 10 users, but more from a early performance testing to capture some level of issues very early in the life cycle. Okay. So, and also from my end user experience perspective, from a browser based response time perspective, Selenium is used for performance. Okay, so there's a 8 to 10 hours of a course which we used to take it earlier for performance using Selenium. That will be those videos will be given to you once you register to this course. The Selenium for performance is more relevant to this because since your background is manual or automation testing, it will be easy for you to even understand and then use it. And that is very, very good value add when it comes to performance testing, because it's more from a single user perspective, early performance, shift left. So those concepts are very new to the industry, and you'll be able to learn those things offline using those videos. Okay, and there's also one more crash course which we used to do it earlier, live performance from for a end-to-end project. Okay, so that video will also be provided to you. It is close to five hours of videos, which again you will get a different perspective what happens in a real-time performance testing project. So both these additional courses will be shared you for you to have an offline rate. So this course would be for say 8 to 10 hours. Additionally, you'll get 8 to 10 hours of Selenium for performance, and also 5 hours of live performance testing project. Okay. So again, the objective of the course is to get the manual testers and the automation testers cross-skilled in the performance testing domain to kickstart their journey towards the performance testing is the objective of this course. Okay? Not to make you experienced performance testing tester. No, that is not the objective for this. That would be the second or third level, right? This is the first level, first step. Always people struggle whenever we want to get the new learning. We find very difficult the initial phase. We wanted to support that. We wanted to probably help the folks who wanted to kick started with the performance testing learning. Okay, I'll take a pass here, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask on the course content or the topics. Feel free to ask here or put it in the chat. Or if you wanted to probably take it offline and then reach out to me in the WhatsApp separately to understand the even more better, feel free to do it tomorrow. Okay, and any questions related to the registration or the payment, you can reach out to Kumar sir. Okay, he is also available in the WhatsApp group. You can reach out to any of the admins in the WhatsApp group for payment related questions or registration related questions. Anything with the course content, you can drop a message in the group chat as well in the WhatsApp. Okay, fine guys. If there are no questions, we'll stop it here, and we'll probably the course will get started from tomorrow, or maybe a day later, depending upon the number of people that are going to join today, tomorrow. We might have started tomorrow itself, the same time, or we will be starting from the Wednesday. Okay. Thank you guys for your time. Yeah, we'll meet tomorrow. Yeah, I'll stop the recording, and this recording will be available tomorrow by noon. Again, every day's video will be uploaded, and you will get the access to the playlist the next day. And the videos are going to be always available for you. There is no restriction: 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years. So you will have your recording for your reference. Okay, and one more thing is we'll also have this. We'll upload all the artifacts, right? Whatever scripts we are creating, whatever report we are generating, all the artifacts related to the course, and also um, the softwares which you might need, right? Like this InfluxDB or Telegraph, whatever that the sample application jar files. All these things will be available in a Google Drive, for which you will get an access once you register it. Okay. Fine, guys. Yeah, thanks for your time. We'll meet tomorrow.